Hello.
Hi.
Hello Vineyard. Here we go. I was just turning my
You're monitoring down there. I can't
yes.
control that for you. You must
No,
watch
no.
it
Well,
on a separate device.
it was on my iPad, so I watching Facebook so I can see comments as we go
Yep.
in real time. And hey, welcome Pastor Georgina. We want to say hi. It's nice to have Pastor Georgina with us today, and my son Douglas too. Thank you, Doug, for making the podcast happen. And hello, Vineyard, everybody. Then we're so glad you're with us. And we're going to spend a little time talking about what's happening at the Vineyard and asking Pastor Georgina questions. And we wanted to invite her on after Pastor Fran was on last week. And most of you know that Pastor Georgina and Pastor Fran are married and have been for years. But Pastor Fran sort of told us some stuff about how they all got together, and Georgina wants to rebut some of that, so we're going to let her do that here in a little bit. And he lies. That's great. That's great. So, well, good. Let's hop right in and start chatting. I had a couple of things on the notes that I wanted to talk about, and then we'll start asking Pastor Georgina some questions, and she can chime in as we go. I did make a little video today, and I posted it on Facebook about our app, the Keys Vineyard app. And with all the digital things that we're doing, I just thought it was important for people to know we have a really good app, and you can get it on iTunes or on Google Play. And so download that, and you can watch all of the sermons on it. You can see all the live streams on it. It has links to everything, including the online bulletin, because we're going all digital with that stuff. And so when you have that, it also has links now to the Vineyard Zoom meetings we'll talk about in a minute. But all that's on the app. So if you want one simple way to sort of have access to all of the digital content we have, I would suggest that the app is the way to go. Everything's there for you, and it works pretty simply. So if you see the video that I posted on Facebook, it'll be popping up on some of your things. Go ahead and check that out, and it's a quick little tutorial that I put on there. So we did that.
It's a great app.
And I also...
It notified me when we went live. Keys Vineyard is live now. So if you actually enable notifications on your device, you'll see when we go live, pushes it right to it. Huh? And that's a very, it's a great easy that way. You click a button, boom, you're right there. You don't have to scroll through Facebook. When we go live, I personally watch on YouTube. So if you want to watch what I'm watching, I watch the YouTube. But I definitely, I check the app, obviously, as well. It's a great resource. I recommend people who don't use YouTube to use the app for sure.
Right. Well, and on the app, there is a link to the YouTube page. So it's everything is pretty much everything I could think of that needed to be on that app. And I added the Zoom meetings to it as well. So
nice.
Really from the app, you can click on the Vineyard Zoom meetings, and that will take you to the Vineyard Zoom page. And then you just click on whatever meeting you want, and it should launch you right into the meeting. So I really want people to get comfortable with that format, because we're going to be using and continuing to use a lot of Zoom meetings in the future, because it's a really good way to get together. So that's a big heads up. I also wanted to say, if you hadn't heard, I mean, we've been talking about it, but I know the news gets out slowly. We have started in-person meetings again at the church. We have a lot of guidelines in place to keep people safe. It's very important to us. And so you can read those guidelines at vineyardresume.com, which is, Vineyard, RESUME.com. Check out the guidelines. We've spaced all the chairs out. The rows are 6 feet apart. You have to wear a mask. We spray your hands on the way in. We added 2 more services, so now there's 6 services, so there's plenty of room and times. The 2 that we added, one 5 o'clock Saturday and one 7 a.m. Sunday morning, are specifically for people 60 and over, and they're just small groups. And even the main services are still small groups. So if you've been concerned that we're packing them in, that's absolutely not happening.
Not yet. And I have to not to disrespect anything you said. When you spelled Vineyard Resume, it sounded like you were about to go like Aretha Franklin, RESPECT, but RESUME, maybe there's a song in there.
too many letters. So So that's happening, and I mentioned Zoom meetings are going well, and that's one of my first things I want to ask Georgina. So you actually started a Zoom meeting, Georgina. It's a book study on Monday night. Why don't you tell us about that?
Sure, Pastor Steve and Doug, thanks for having me. I'm very excited. Yes, so we started a Zoom meeting. It's called Chasing Vines by Beth Moore, and it's just been going so well. I get to see that have been a part of our church, that have moved away, and it's been so great. And we are learning to abide in Jesus, and when we abide in Him, we bear much fruit. So it's been really, really good.
Good, and everybody feels comfortable, I think, on the Zoom thing. One of the things that I've been impressed by Zoom meetings is that even though it's all digital, the presence of the Lord is very real in those meetings. What's your experience with that?
It's been amazing. I'm just so proud of everyone just going out on a limb and just trying something new. So proud of them. But for sure, the Lord has just been blessing us with His presence. I tell Fran, babe, we were just crying because we just felt so touched just talking about the Lord, and just so overwhelmed in the fact that He is with us whatever we're doing. It doesn't matter the medium, He's there, and I'm so grateful for that. And that has been the biggest surprise and the biggest blessing.
Good. Yeah, it's been important to have access in this season, and I'm glad for it. Certainly, I'm looking forward to being able to meet in person when we can safely, like we're doing on the weekends now. But for midweek stuff, I think it's a great platform, and so we're very excited about it, and that is added so well. And really, all the Zoom meetings are doing well. I've been asking everybody. I know Pastor Barry's doing a men's meeting on Monday night. He says that's going well. And Alice and Angie have a sort of a women's prayer meeting Tuesday morning that's going really well. Alicia's doing a women's study. She told me that's going great. That's on Tuesday nights. Pastor Fran's recovery group is meeting on Zoom on Tuesdays. The young adults are meeting on Thursdays virtually, and we're going to be adding some more stuff as we go. And I'm figuring out. I want to do a Zoom meeting myself, but I'm just sort of trying to figure out exactly how I want to approach that, and when I can commit to it, so that it goes well. So all those things are in place, but that's good. And let's see, outreaches stuff. Outreaches have been going great. I always want to thank everybody at the church for your amazing generosity, and watching God provide for these outreaches is fascinating. And so we had another big outreach this morning, and we gave away the meals were great. They were chicken, whole chickens, and potatoes and onions, and they were making a potato and onion and corn hash to go with the chicken. So a wonderful meal and lots of other neat stuff. And then we're already starting to prep for the Saturday outreach, and that's going to be the chorizo stuffed peppers.
Ooh,
again.
Nice.
We did that meal once before. People really liked it, so we're doing it again.
Who doesn't like chorizo?
I know, and you
Yeah.
put it in peppers and rice and black beans, and
I use chorizo in my chili with Italian sausage, and it's a nice twist because you get like extra spiciness. So yeah, that was we had that one I think early April, right? The stuffed peppers. That was really good. It was one of my favorites.
Yeah, no, it's been good, and so we're continuing to do that on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and it's going well. We do a big produce thing on Saturday with it, so we should have some great fresh produce, and that's always kind of a surprise. We've been working with one of the local produce places, and they actually go and we give them money, and they go and purchase produce for us at a big farmers market, and so we get real fresh stuff. But I always tell them to surprise me, so they just bring whatever they can, whatever fresh and good, and they can do for that money. So that'll be real good. And thanks to all the volunteers, great groups of people that have been helping us, and so it's just it's been a blessing to be able to reach into the community. It's funny too, and I'll take this on behalf of everybody. I was in Winn-Dixie a couple of days ago, just doing some shopping, and I had at least 6 people tell me thank you for what we were doing for the community. And so, whenever that happens, I know I'm being thanked for all of you. And so I just want you to know that you're making a big difference, and the community knows it, and so for that, I'm really blessed in that whole situation. Let's see, Doug, you've had a project going on this week. What have you been doing?
We've been reconstructing our production room. It's the one near one of the classrooms, and I kind of feel bad for Georgina's sake because one of her beautiful kids' rooms is now filled with my garbage from in there. But yeah, we installed new carpet and we're repainting it and we're cable managing. That's a big deal, and it looks like $1 million in there. I will have a picture for you guys next week, but it's something I'm very excited about. I see Nancy Smith had a comment for the chorizo chili, and literally all it is a package of chorizo, a package of Italian sausage, some onions, slap it in a pan, canned tomatoes, cans of beans, boom, you're done. Like, and then just whatever seasonings you want. It's super easy. So
And do you have to slap the sausage? Is that what you said? Is that a secret?
slap it right in there. That's what it's all about. That's This is my youngest son, Reed. He likes to see.
Hi, Reed.
Oh, Reed has actually lost 2 of his bottom teeth. He's showing all of our viewers. So
Wow.
yeah,
I
big
hope
boy, huh?
I hope your Nana's watching right now because she'll want to see that.
All right, you go play.
That's good. So big. Just it's a good time to take all of the equipment back offline, like you're doing,
In the
because
past,
we don't need
yeah,
it during the week.
because that room is not ready yet for church. We need another solid. And, I had such a good team. My father-in-law has been doing the construction side of it, painting it and kind of building up some stuff. And, I've got Jerry over there, Kurt, Brandon. Remington was over there all day today, too. Shout out to him. He's a podcast listener. So I wanted to get him in the podcast. So,
Oh, good.
but yeah, we have a great crew, and I'm so very thankful for all the help we have at church. And I'd rather be meeting in person, but it's a good time to kind of do maintenance on projects that we wouldn't be able to do with harsh deadlines. So
Yeah, and so some people might not even notice because we didn't get to meet much of March, but in February we installed a new speaker system.
yes,
And we were still sort of working all the bugs out of that when we had to quit meeting. But it is really awesome now.
yeah, Kurt and Jerry working on that quite a bit today, tweaking some things. It's a line array system, and with the line arrays, you can tell each speaker what you want it to do sound wise. So I don't want to go too nerdy. Maybe someday I'll have like a nerd Zoom meeting if you're interested in the specifics. But for everybody here, they're more interested in the chorizo chili. But there's a lot of cool stuff we can do, and we're fortunate because we just have a blast doing church. The guys and I, we're laughing, we're cracking jokes. So there's this big mess, but there's great fellowship. So it's always a good time destroying rooms and trying to put them back together.
Yeah. Well, we'll get everything ready for everybody. It'll be ready for the weekend.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking as we just talked about, so and I said we're meeting again, but as a church, and we've been blessing the community, and that's been good, and all of this stuff's going to take a while. And there's still a lot of people that feel way more secure at home, and that's good. We bless that, and we're not able to do children yet, but we're working on that, and we'll get that going when we can. But I'm also, I'm going to start working towards preparing the church over this next month or so for tremendous ministry. I think that we're going to have again in the community, even as things sort of start coming back, because there's a lot of really hard stuff people are dealing with through this, and it's been building up over time. There's a lot of brokenness that's going to be out there that we need to really be ready to move into, and so we're going to be talking about that. I've got a few more weeks of stuff that I want to talk about right now, but it's going to be the direction, just how the church can be ready to meet the needs of the brokenness that we're going to see all around us, as we get healthy ourselves. So we're going to be moving into that. But let's talk to with Pastor Georgina here, and we'll come back to the sermon and the worship stuff when we get towards the end. So, Pastor Georgina, so why don't you tell us how you came to the Keys Vineyard and your journey, how your journey with the Lord started, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you. Well, I remember the first time I walked into the doors. I had just moved to a little place, a 7 square foot little cottage all by myself, and just the only house on the street, surrounded by mangroves. And it was a Saturday that I just moved in, and I remember my landlord calling me and saying, "Hey, do you want to go to church with me tomorrow?" And I thought, sure, why not? And I remember just going in there and meeting you, Pastor Steve. And then I remember you just asking if anybody wanted to give their life to Christ on that same day that I was there, my first visit. And I thought, sure, why not? So I raised my hand. And it was amazing because I went home and sat on my kitchen table by the window looking at the dirt road, and just feeling this peace come over me, just knowing that I was going to be okay, that I was going to be okay, that everything was going to be okay. And that's just how everything started for me. I never looked back. I just kept going to church, and eventually you were offering Vineyard Leadership Institute at the church, and I just felt called to just learn. I wanted to learn more. It wasn't anything more than just wanting to learn. And I remember there was a class that about team building, and the speaker asked, everybody has to have a HAG, a hairy, audacious goal that you're looking for, that that if God's hand wasn't on it, you would never, it would never happen. And I remember thinking, what is my goal in all this? And then it just came over me that God wanted me to work for his church, that God wanted me to be in ministry. And that was just the beginning of my journey with him in ministry.
Cool. Yeah, one of my favorite things about Georgina and Fran's story is that both of them, when they came to the church, first time, both of them gave their lives to Jesus. And I just think that's one of my favorite things. And I know that there's other people who's have that experience where they step in and get saved, but I know for some it takes a lot longer than that, but that's a very cool experience that happened. And then even before VLI, you started serving at the church. I remember you doing it, and so what was your first sort of serving ministry there at the church?
Well, I had this great mentor that she just was amazing with me. She modeled to me what servanthood was, and she at the time was doing the bagels and the coffee. So that was how I started. I started serving out the bagels, and I started doing the coffee on Sunday mornings.
Yeah, and you did that for a long time, right?
I did that for a long time. I was very happy doing that. I was extremely happy.
Not to age anybody, but Georgina was doing that when I was still in Sunday school.
Yep.
So
yeah, well, and it was busy when you started doing it, but it wasn't like it is now. I mean, it was it was growing at that point in time. The coffee ministry was sort of something we were stepping into, but that's good. So so of my current staff, you have been here the longest, I think. So when did you come on staff at the Vineyard?
I came on staff on January 2006, right after I got married. I got married that December 30th, and then a couple of days after that, I was full-time on staff, so it's been 14 years.
Wow, that's great. Good. Here's where you would say what a great boss I am, just in case.
You're so great, Pastor Steve.
And what about your sloppy coworkers? Come on now.
They're so great. I have the best coworkers ever. They're not messy at all.
Yeah. Sometimes the tech crew can leave a disaster behind them. Sometimes, like always.
It always works, though. It's funny at staff meetings. Georgina's the only one who comes prepared, and she's always the one that starts conversations. Because you know, you Dad will go around the room. He'll be like, "Okay, you got anything?" I'm like, "No." Fran, you got anything? No. Georgina, you got anything? Well, and then the staff meeting actually starts. So that's that's how our staff functions here.
Yeah, I invite everybody to speak, as Douglas said, and then Georgina's always the last one to go, and then everybody decides they got to speak then.
Well, so, and we interrupt her too. She never gets to just it's wait. I just remembered something. Yeah, she's the one who comes in with notes and is prepared. She's the responsible
all of a sudden, everybody has something when Georgina's turn comes on. So she's very patient with everybody. So that's very good. Okay, so last week, we had your husband on, we had Fran on, and we were talking about how you guys met. And so his side of the story was that, almost from the time that he walked in there, you started flirting with him. And so we wanted to hear your take on that.
Again, in case nobody has seen this.
Now, is that a dry erase board or a piece of paper? I can't tell.
Yes, sir. I'm a Sunday school teacher.
It's a dry erase board. Wow.
Dry erase board.
You have one at your house, ready to go. Oh, man.
I couldn't actually believe it when he said it on the podcast last, because I knew you were listening. I was like, well, he's not going to get away with that.
No.
I kind of remember that whole story. So, but go ahead, tell us about, because he gave us his side. Why don't you give us yours?
I thank you so much for letting me set the record straight. That's very important. Because I'm not. You've known me, Pastor C, for a long time. I am very reserved most of the time. It was funny. Like I said, I did the bagel ministry back then, and he had 2 bagels on his plate. And all I did was come up to him and say, "Sir, I don't know if you know, but there's like 1 bagel limit." And he just looked and laughed, and I just was like, okay, that was all. That's not flirting. That's just being, I don't know, hospitable.
Wow. That's quite the pickup line, Georgina.
It's the beginning of a beautiful romance.
There's a half a bagel limit at the church that just gives away bagels.
No, one bagel limit. He had 2.
Well, he was like trying to make a sandwich or something. You can't short out the bagels. Come on.
Trying to conserve our bagels,
Yeah. Back in the day, things were different.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So much fun.
So that's the start. But then he obviously eventually asked you out or something.
Well, kind of like, the whole deal was, that, he had to come and speak to you about that to make sure that it was okay. That we were dating, because, I was going to be in ministry. By then you had already asked me to come in and be on full staff. And in my mind, I was, God was going to send a husband that was in ministry already. And Fran had just given his life to the Lord on that same year. And I thought, Lord, I don't know if he's for me, but if he's not, Lord, just get rid of him soon, because he's really cute. And just, how to say, so...
Yeah, he is so cute. Yeah, I get that.
I don't know if cute is the word I would describe Fran now, but maybe he was cute back then. He's more handsome now, in like the large help me move stuff kind of way.
He's ruggedly handsome, we'll say.
That's so funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that that's all worked out, and then as we said, he eventually went to VLI as well, and he's on staff full time now. He started part time, and now he's full time. He does lots. So, Georgina, tell me, what are your ministries at the Vineyard? What do you do? What do you oversee? What do you do?
Wow. Okay. Well, mainly I do the administration of the church, and I do the bookkeeping of the church, and one of my favorite things that I do is I oversee the children's ministry, and I just love that, and I miss them so much, and I do whatever you need me to do, Pastor Steve.
Good response. I like that. Yeah.
Did you
So
guys, I don't know if she shared it to the church's Facebook page, but Sheila made a Mother's Day video from the clips last year, but like the blooper reel. So that was super cute.
Oh
So I'll have to see if it's shared to the church's Facebook page. Maybe I'll do that later today or tomorrow. So if Sheila's
yeah.
watching, I know sometimes she watches,
Hmm.
copy a link to that. But that was a super
okay.
cute video. Cause yeah, like we
Yeah.
um we hadn't seen the kids in so long. So I was like, oh man, miss the kids, It's
Yeah. It was
And
good, but it was sad.
the other thing, Georgina. So what's your favorite thing about working at the vineyard? What are your favorite things?
Besides working with you guys,
There you go. Yeah.
we know that's not your
Wait.
favorite thing. Come
Come on.
on.
my favorite day of the week is Sunday. I just love seeing God's people. I'm so encouraged by them. I know their pains, and I see over time how God works through that, and it's just so encouraging to me. Sundays are my favorite days. Just being there with God's people on Sunday is my favorite thing ever.
Yeah. No, it's good. And you do a great job with the things that you do. So I'm always very proud of you. I think I tell you that, but just in case, I'm saying it publicly now. If Pastor Georgina is great at what she does.
There's
Oh, and there's Pastor Frank.
there's Mr.
Oh, at least he's
Ruggedly
wearing.
Handsome himself right there. He's got a shirt on today. Thank
At least
goodness.
he was wearing a shirt. Yeah, I was going to say that's a win. If you don't understand what we're laughing about, we were having a Zoom meeting that was being simulcast all over everywhere, and Frank kept walking by without his shirt on. So nice to have him shirted up. So that's good with that. Um, let's see what else is going on. So this week, let's talk about my the message this week, so some of you can sort of prepare for that and get ready. So I'm going to be looking in Luke chapter 24, and we're going to talk about the Jesus walking with the two disciples on the road to Emmaus after the crucifixion and resurrection. And I think it's an amazing story, and there's so many things in that story that we can talk about. But I really want to be looking at how God is for us, and how God is for us in the difficult times in life. And this was a real hard time for the two disciples who were walking. Were extremely disappointed. All of everything that they'd hoped in had just sort of, they thought, vanished before their very eyes. And they're walking away from Jerusalem, and they're basically heading home. And I love that Jesus joins them on this journey, and he walks with them, and they don't even recognize him at first. And I think a lot of times when we're in a hard spot, we may not recognize it, but Jesus is always with us, and he's always walking with us. And what happens in the encounter, I think, is very hopeful. And so we're going to be digging into that together. So read, if you get a chance to get prepared for the weekend, read Luke 24. And I think it's going to be a very helpful story. And in a time like this, knowing that God is for us, it's I'm talking about trust again. That we have to be able to trust in the Lord, and when things get difficult like this. This is a difficult season. We've been through hard seasons before. We've been through the hurricane and other things, and this is so different because some things are relatively this normal, same, but so many other things are different, and the waiting and the fear that tries to come on, all those things that are happening. There's so many people now struggling out of work, and so all those things are in play. But if we know that God is for us and that God is walking with us, it really changes how we look at things, and I think it'll be very helpful for everybody. So
Looking forward to it.
so that's what's coming.
Light
Yeah, that's what's
part
coming up.
8, right? Light.
Light part 8. Yes, as
Not
light part
L-I-T-E.
8. No.
L-I-G-H-T.
Yeah. Although Saturdays and Sundays at church are kind of like Vineyard LITE at the moment, because
Well, I prefer like Diet Vineyard. Because there's no food.
There's no food that works. We should call it Diet Vineyard. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's almost as good, but there's
Yeah.
there's no aspartame in Diet Vineyard. It's free
No,
of
no food, no food, and no
processed
coffee or anything.
chemicals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we don't want anybody to have to take their masks off yet. And it's a trick, the mask during church, but it's worth it. I think so. It allows us to meet, which is really important. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on with the whole mask thing, but for now, if that's what we're going to do, that's why we called the guidelines the Greater Love Guidelines. It's all about, greater love has no one than this, that they laid down their lives for their friends. And so if that's what it takes to help some people feel safe, then it's worth putting a mask on and going through that during church. But so because God is for us, we actually started a new song that we haven't done yet in person called The Blessing. The first time we did it was right after we stopped in-person meeting. Yeah, so we've done it on the broadcast a couple times. But I asked Doug earlier this week, because I'm preaching about God being for us, to do that song, because that song, The Blessing, is about God. In fact, one of the lines that goes over and over again is "He is for you, He is for you," and
it's kind of funny
yeah.
about
So I wanted to.
that song. For our sound system, we can actually record all of our all the stuff that we play. So we had a recording from Easter Sunday, and as Kurt was dialing it in, he didn't have to have any musicians because he was playing the recording, and it was that song. So I heard us doing that song in one part of that song for about 2 hours. So I can guarantee everybody coming that we'll be very tight on that song this weekend, because half the band has heard it for hours today. But yeah, I see a lot of cool arrangements online of people doing that song, covering it. Originally done by Elevation Worship and Cody Carnes and Carrie Joe. But it's a great tune. And it's kind of been like the theme song over this pandemic period, for the church.
Right. Yeah.
So
It's very powerful. I've been listening to our version of it over and over again, often when I'm out for a run and while I'm praying and thinking about what I'm going to talk about. So it's really been ministering to me in the process. What other songs are we going to do this weekend?
yeah, so we're going to end with that one, The Blessing. We're starting with another Elevation song called Won't Stop Now. It's 2018, I think, is when they came out with that, so it's still pretty new. It's a good one. And then Angie's doing It Is Well, the Bethel arrangement from a few years ago. And then I'm very excited about it. We're doing a new Vineyard worship song called Cherry Blossoms. It's been out in Vineyard circles for a while, but they just came out with a full release. So we'll be covering that one this weekend too. And that one's going to be a lot of fun. Got sort of a country vibe to it, and we're very excited about it. I think Kim's going to do awesome with it. So if she's chatting on now. Oh, look here. Kim has a comment. Let's see. My wife, hi honey. She says, being in the building last weekend and feeling the buzz as people were able to fellowship safely, it was amazing. I just stood there and closed my eyes and listened and felt the spirit there. I was close to tears. It's definitely been life-giving having people back in the building. It's so different doing recording church versus church, And
Right.
I think we're thankful for the online ministry, but there's just something about the local church that you just can't replace. But we got to be able to do it safely,
Yeah, it's not going to be either or anymore. It's both
Yep.
and. We've sort of known that we were fortunate. We had a lot of people watching us already online,
Right.
Because of we've been streaming for years, and we've really dialed the quality in, and because we have so many people that are with us in the winter, and then go somewhere else in the summer, a lot of them have stayed connected online, but you got to have both. I mean, it's and that there's something about gathering that's really significant. That song Cherry Blossoms, I heard that when I remember texting you. I heard it at a conference in California, and I remember saying, hey, we got to do this song. So that's great. I'd forgotten about it. All you have to really do is give me 6 weeks. I forget about everything. But
Well,
I'm glad you remembered.
I don't know if we've talked about it in the past, but doing a new song for our setup, especially like trying to keep the least amount of people involved, it requires a bit of automation. So I have to wait for certain resources to become available to like do them at the level that we do them. But we can obviously do any song that we want. But I was kind of waiting, and our friend Mike O'Brien from Georgia was like, he actually sent me the version that we're doing a couple months before it got released. So I was like, oh, cool. Are they coming out with that? It's like, yes. So I was like, okay, cool. We're definitely going to do it once it gets released. So
That's great.
yeah, sometimes it's just a waiting thing. But we can do new songs very quickly if we put our minds to it. We don't always.
Yeah.
But there's lots of great
lot
songs,
of stuff.
Yeah, lots going on.
There's a lot of moving parts that happen in every area of ministry. A lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't know. Even if people saw, talking about Pastor Georgina working with the kids, the amount of things that happen in our kids ministry behind the scenes, and how many people it actually takes just to prepare all the rooms and the kits and the crafts, and how many packages of stuff show up every week that they're ordering so that the kids always have things to do, and then they have to get them ready and assembled, and the rooms have to be cleaned and staffed, and it's an amazing ministry. But we've been talking, and just so you know about the kids stuff, we are we've the daycares in our area have stayed open during this time. They were deemed essential, so we've asked how they've been doing things, and we've got some tips from them about what it looks like. And so we're hoping, we're not going to rush it, but sooner rather than later, we'll start to have some of the kids' rooms opened again, so that we can start ministering to them, and as people feel safe, and that continues. So that's coming up. But I know that's a lot of work getting it going again. There's a lot of things that happen with that ministry. So it's a powerful ministry. We love the kids, and they've always been a big part of the ministry, and having them come forward on the weekends so they feel like they're a part and get to talk on the microphone. I miss all of that. So we're looking forward to when they can do that again. But now if they do come back, the kids, they get a little craft kit on the way in, and there's plenty of room in between the rows so they can stay with their parents, so it's quite safe. And they can do their crafts and their kits there. And I watched my grandson, Stevie, was there at 11 Sunday, and he's doing his craft, and as he's finishing things, he's holding them up so his mom and dad can see him on stage. Look, here we go. So it's been fun to see a few of the little ones come in.
Okay, well, I think we'll open it up for the social Q&A time. We're always looking for questions here we can answer. And while we're doing that, a brief word from our sponsors. The Hello Vineyard podcast is sponsored by Keys Vineyard Community Church, your one and only vineyard in Big Pine Key, Florida. You can join us Saturday nights at 5 and 7 p.m., Sunday morning 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9:30, and 11 a.m. We are broadcasting live almost all those services to Facebook, YouTube, our church app, Keys Vineyard. You can find it on the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. We have a Roku channel, we have an Apple TV channel, and of course you can find us on keysvineyard.com. So that was a brief word from our sponsor. We're still looking for other sponsors, but we haven't come across one yet. Just waiting for the invites.
Don't forget. Yes. Online Bible Institute is another one of our sponsors.
Thank you. They just sent us a check in the mail, the Jesus Moment Bible Institute. You can find it at onlinebibleinstitute.org. You can sign up for classes. You can get your associates or bachelors all for free at one low price of nothing. You can't, I mean, and it's
how many places?
It's a legitimate degree, too. Like, that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. It's a legitimate bachelor's degree recognized by the state of Florida.
Yes. And we have a lot of our graduates are in full-time ministry. So it's a big deal. It speaks for itself. And so we're excited to be able to do that. Pastor Georgina's taking classes there, as well as other places, but
Georgina,
that's been really good stuff.
You got a bachelor's from the Online Bible Institute, right? Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, thank you. It's really great. Love learning.
Yeah, the guy who runs that is really cool, I've heard.
I heard too.
You're talking to the guy that reads papers from all over the world at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Now, quick question about the Bible Institute. How many of those papers do you get? How frequently? Like, what's your weekly workload for the Bible Institute as far as like grading papers and stuff?
It's not terrible. Maybe there's 10 a week or something like that.
Okay.
it's of papers that I have to read, because they just come at the end of classes when people have to do them, and some of those classes have tests that I have to grade, and so those come in, and a lot of it's just encouragement and just sort of doing what I can. There's 1,090 students as of the other day, so we're heading towards 1,100 students. Yeah, I know, it's very cool. So I think that's a wonderful thing.
Okay, Sheila says she did post the video to the page. Cool. So yeah, that's the Mother's Day kids blooper video. It's very cute. Great seeing the kids' faces again. Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate it.
Yes, Sheila, thank you so much for doing that video and
Pastor Steve,
when you did it. Yes.
there's some birthdays for the kids that I wanted to just wish them a happy birthday. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, great. So in April we had 2 birthdays. James had a birthday and Connor had a birthday. So I just wanted to say happy birthday to them. And then
Happy birthday.
Alejandro, Miss Gloria's son, just had a birthday yesterday. So that was his birthday.
Happy birthday.
And then Ava, who happened to drive by our giveaways this morning, she has a birthday coming up in a couple of days, and a lot of us volunteers and staff were able to sing her happy birthday. So that was a lot of fun.
That's great.
I remember
that's great.
Connor was born a day or two before Reed, so my youngest son. So they were in the hospital at the same time Reed was. It was just the 2 of us when Connor was born. So that's cool. Yeah, Connor's 5 years old now. Reed's classmate. So
it was funny. So we're out there this morning during the drive-through, and people are coming in, and so I kind of move around where they need me. I'm out back, I'm out front, whatever. We had lots of volunteers, so I was out in the beginning there with greeting a little bit, and Pastor Georgina is always out there, and Alicia's always out there. They do the greeting and tell people, roll down your window and get ready and say hi. So I was out there saying hi to a few folks, and this car drives by, and there's a little girl in the back seat, and so we're out there with masks, and Georgina's wearing a mask and glasses and a hat. And this little girl comes in, and Georgina says, "Hi, do you know who I am?" And the little girl goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "There's no way she knows who you are. Nobody can tell who you are right now. You've got your glasses on, and I've realized, have you had this happen where when you're out, if somebody's wearing a mask and you think you know who it is, but you're not 100% sure when you walk away? Like, was that who I think it was? Because I'm not 100% sure.
You know what we're gonna have to start doing is wearing our names on our masks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw NASCAR's coming back, and this is what I thought was hilarious. In order for the sponsors to have their logo on the mask, it has to get approved by NASCAR first.
That's funny.
So, like in NASCAR, you'll have like DuPont Automotive finishes right on the face.
That's hilarious. Yeah, well, things are definitely changing.
It's always something.
Yeah. I have people saying hello to me, and I want to say I wish I knew who they were, but if you're wearing a mask and glasses and a hat, I got nothing. I got no point of reference. So that's always interesting.
Challenging.
All right. So what else do we got? Because it's
we were given some time for the social Q&As, and sometimes we get a couple questions, but not always. It's kind of a interesting thing to chat from your phone to us talking in person. But that's our hope for this, is to get a few questions every week. So and it can be like, almost anything. If it's like calculus questions, we're probably not going to answer that, because I don't think I can still do calculus.
Yeah, and sometimes they roll by and we haven't seen them. So don't think if we didn't answer your question that we're ignoring you. Sometimes we just didn't get to all of them. And so those things happen. But that covers, I think, most of it. We don't want to make this thing go on if we are sensing it's starting to drift off. And I sense that's happening now.
Our sponsor is like, pull the plug.
Yeah, pull it down. It's been a good show. Don't do anything else.
But
so
thank you, Pastor Georgina, for coming on. She was a trooper. The software I was using wasn't letting her log on like 6 minutes before the podcast started. I was like, hold on. And so I had to shuffle and restart my computer. Oh, here we go. Nancy's got a quick question. Okay, she says I got one. All right, so we'll see what.
I see it.
Okay, I'm waiting for it to pop up here. Let it. Let's see.
Oh, but the question is, what time is women's Bible study?
What time is the women's Bible study? Yes.
So there's actually two. Georgina, you want to answer that?
Sure. My book study of Beth Moore is on Monday nights at 7 o'clock. And you just go to vineyardzoom.com and log in.
Okay. And then there's another women's study on Tuesday night at 7 with Alicia, correct? All right.
Yes, sir.
So let me pray, and then we'll call it an evening. All right.
Thanks, Ashley.
And
she said, "Love the podcast."
Lord, we're thankful for this time. We ask God you just bless everybody that's listening and those people that will watch this later. And thank you for the opportunity to get together in this format. And we're grateful for who you are. We love you so much. And we look forward to this weekend, God, and to your scripture stirring us and letting us know that we absolutely can trust you and that you're for us. We watch and ask, God, that you would just watch over and protect our community and, God, our islands, our state, our country, the world. Lord, there's so many things happening. We just ask for more of you in all of these situations, and that during this time that many, many, many people will come to know you as their Lord and Savior and put their trust in you as well. And so we are grateful for you and for this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Goodbye, Vineyard.
Goodbye, Vineyard. Thank you, guys.